Good day, teachers. Welcome to Arsenal Language Online School CAT program. For today's video, allow me to talk about the manual, how to teach it, how to do your recording using it, and a brief integration of some techniques to teach CAT itself. Our textbook or main material for our CAT program is called A2 Key Speaking Manual, which has 15 lessons. This is from lesson 1 to lesson 15. The manual is designed for a 3-month long duration and it has complete scripts from part 1 to part 2. If you notice, part 1 has two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. These two phases generally ask questions about yourself. Always remember that in part 1, candidates are assessed on their language skills, not their personality, intelligence, or knowledge of the world. They must be prepared to develop the conversation where appropriate and respond to the task set. Prepared speeches are not acceptable. Take note of that. Candidates are assessed on their own individual performance and not in relation to each other. Let me just give some advices in teaching part 1. As teachers, you teach your students to spell their names correctly, give longer answers sometimes, and always correct their mistakes, especially for serious grammatical flaws. Teach them that they can ask the examiner to say something again or repeat a question if they didn't understand it. And guide them to wait a little before they speak to give themselves a time to think. Also, discourage your students to give lots of short or one-word answers. Tell them not to worry about every mistake they make and wait too long before they answer a question or spend too long thinking about their answers. By the way, before we proceed to part 2, let me tell you that there are 3 analytical criteria that will be used to assess our students if they'll pass this test or not. These are first, grammar and vocabulary, second, pronunciation, and third, interactive communication. Don't worry, I'll be discussing this criteria on our next training for CAT scoring. Now let's proceed to part 2 of the CAT exam. In this part of the test, candidates are asked to talk about the things they like or don't like and explain why, meaning you have to teach them how to give reasons. Part 2 has 2 phases, just like part 1. So we have in here phase 1 and then phase 1 extension. Alright, so there is an image in here. Phase 1 has an image which is being used to anchor the direction of the conversation between the two candidates. Part 2 would require a longer answer because it asks a preference question. Now let me give you advices which you can use to handle CAT. First, use variety of techniques to teach the subject. Please don't just read the questions, let your students answer them, make a very little and irrelevant corrections, and proceed to the next questions. That's a no-no. So let me show you some techniques which are very helpful to help your students. First on my list is the matching type technique. Using this, you can collate pictures, which you can see right now. Pictures that depict some topics in part 1, such as sports, friends, food, your town, your school, etc. And let your students match the questions with the pictures and encourage them to answer your given questions using the pictures. Let's try to look at the example given in here. So there are 5 pictures in here and 5 questions at the same time. Question number 1 says, what sports do you play at weekends? Ask your student which among the pictures talks about the first question. So definitely that would be number 2. Right? So who is your best friend? That's number 3. What subjects don't you like at school? That would be number 1. What's your favorite food? Definitely that's number 5. And tell me about your hometown. That is number 4. And then after matching the questions and the pictures, you go now into dissecting or giving details to the question, okay, and encouraging the student to talk more about it. Another method is using bubbles. You can make your own PowerPoint presentation by following the same example, no, that I used here, and play it with your student. You choose a topic you should be talking about, like a subject at school, friends, sports, daily routine, etc. This is a very good way to cultivate or develop the skill of your students to communicate interactively and answering in a longer answers by giving reasons. Since questions in part 2 are about things you like or dislike and explain the reasons why you like or dislike such thing, using this way as shown is a very good activity you can use with your student. You ask your students to think of 5 things they like and 5 things they dislike. For example, for food, hobbies, animals, school subjects, etc. Write them in the boxes. So allow them to write the things they like and the things they don't like. Yeah, and allow them to think about why they like them or why they don't like them. And you're going to talk about some of these things later. Now, let's go on to the reporting. Okay, how you do the reporting on our portal. This is the reporting details, no, on our portal. So we have the student type, we have the student level, we have the report type, and then we have the textbooks. In making the report for CAT classes, no, you still need, of course, to do this student type here. So definitely that would be kids. And then we have student level. So for CAT, there are only 2 levels now, possible levels for our students. That would be A0 and A1. All right. So maybe the student would be A0. Okay. And then the report type, if you notice, no, in our portal or on our portal, we only have ESL trial report and IELTS trial report, or ESL regular report, IELTS regular report. There is no such thing as CAT, PET, FCE, or CAE. No, so you have to click the others there. Okay, so that would be CAT. And now let's go to the textbook. Now, let's make a standard on how you should make your report here. Okay, or how you're going to write your report. The first one would be the name of the manual. Let's agree, no, that the manual's name would be CAT manual. That would be the name. I don't want to see any other names, no, for our CAT manual. I want that to be CAT manual. After you write the name of the manual, which is of course CAT manual, you go into the lesson number. Okay, so if that would be lesson 1, and go to the phases. So there would be phase 1 or phase 2. Let's say phase 2, no? So CAT manual lesson 1 phase 2. Let me repeat. So you have to put the manual's name, okay, and that would be CAT manual. The lesson number, so if that would be lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 15, and we have the phase, no? So that would be phase 1, phase 2, extension. So that's all, teachers. I hope this video is helpful to each and every one of us. If you still have some concerns, please don't hesitate to come to me and we'll try our best to work them out. See you again. Have a nice day.